Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Simone here. Welcome to my book nook. Now you've probably seen this in the back of some of my videos, but I love it very much. I have 7 stacks of books and I thought that I would show you what is on the shelves. So there isn't really a lot of organisation as such in terms of where things are piled. On this side here, these are all my hardback books. Basically just that bottom section, and then it goes into paperbacks. Along here, from this one to this one here, these next 5 are all paperback books of the kind of normal paperback style and size, and then this end over here, these are the smaller paperback. So if I show you the two, so this is one of the normal paperbacks and this is the other one, and obviously it's quite a bit smaller. So that is these two on the end here. When I first organised them, they were in roughly alphabetical order by book title, but as I've got more books, they've kind of just gone everywhere, so they're not really in any order now. On here, this book here is a book that my boyfriend's just given me back, which I gave him, and then this is my router for my internet. But there's nothing else very exciting on there, so let's get started. Starting with the book that my boyfriend has just given me back, we have The Reapers Are the Angels by Alden Bell, The Babes in the Wood by Ruth Rendell, Second Honeymoon by James Patterson and Howard Ruffin, Worst Case by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge, The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner by Stephanie Meyer, and this is a novella from the Twilight series, Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick, which is the first in the duology, Outbreak by Chris Ryan, The Diamond Queen by Andrew Marr, Confessions of a Good Girl by Andrea McLean, Time to Be in Earnest by P.D. James, Deadly Embrace by Jackie Collins. This book I don't actually have the dust jacket for, but it is Blowfly by Patricia Cornwell, which is part of the Kay Scarpetta series, Flashback by Dan Simmons, For Valor by Andy McNabb, A Meditation on Murder by Robert Thorogood, which is a novel from the Death in Paradise TV series, The Affair by Lee Child, which is part of the Jack Reacher thriller series, The Interrogator by Andrew Williams, On the Front Line by Nigel Cawthorne, Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy by Helen Fielding, which is actually, I believe, the 3rd book in the series, The Accidental Adventurer by Ben Fogle, Undersea Prison by Duncan Falconer, Step on a Crack by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge, and Blizzard Race to the Pole by Jasper Rees, which is part or accompanies the television series Blizzard from the BBC. And that is the first stack. Now on to the second stack, just here. So this is the start of the paperback section. Again, these aren't in any particular order, so let's get started. First up is a bookshot, or a short story essentially, of Private Royals by James Patterson, After You by Jojo Moyes, which is the sequel to Me Before You, Ultimatum by Simon Kernick, Body Double by Tess Gerritsen, which is part of the Rosalian Isles book series, Demon Thief by Darren Shan, which is the 2nd book in the Demonata trilogy, I believe, Career of Evil by Robert Galbraith, also known as J.K. Rowling, and this is a Cormoran Strike novel, I believe the 3rd in the series. Hashtag Girl Boss by Sophie Amoruso, Susanna's Garden by Debbie Macomber, The Silent Sister by Diane Chamberlain, The Cake Shop in the Garden by Carol Matthews, Chosen by PC and Kristen Cast, which is one of the House of Night novels, I think it's number 3 in the series, The Boy with No Boots by Sheila Jeffries, The Broken Man by Josephine Cox, Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer, which is number 4 in the Twilight series, The Bronze Horseman by Paulina Simons, which I believe is in the UK edition. I've seen a lot of American YouTubers talking about this book, but they often have the other cover, so this is the UK one. The Accident by C.L. Taylor, A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, and this was shortlisted for the Bailey's Women's Prize for Fiction in 2016. Kissing Under the Mistletoe by Marina Adair, Dirty by Kylie Scott, which is a dive bar novel, Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, which is part of the Grisha Kingdom, and I believe this is the first in duology with Crooked Kingdom, which I don't own at the moment. I haven't read this yet, which I know is ridiculous. I really need to get to it. In Real Life by Joey Christopher, and Joey is a YouTuber, so I shall link his channel below. But yeah, I haven't read this one yet either. Lifeguard by James Patterson and Andrew Cross. Ma, He Sold Me for a Few Cigarettes by Martha Long, and this is one of those true story sort of memoir type things, and I imagine this is absolutely horrific. I have here the unabridged version of Oedipus Rex by Sophocles, and this is like a really thin sort of, almost like a magazine type thing, but this is part of the Prestwick House Literary Touchstone Classic. The Pacific by Hugh Ambrose, and this book is the companion book to this television series on HBO. And Run, Fat Bitch Run by Ruth Field, which is kind of like a motivational commentary, I guess. And that is all for that pile. Now on to the third shelf, and we start off with The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson. Evermore by Alison Noel, and this is the first book in the Immortal series. A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini, and this is by the same author as The Kite Runner. Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas, the first book in the Throne of Glass series. I believe there's going to be 6 altogether. I think 5 of them are out at the moment, and yet I still haven't read this book. I know I need to get on it. Make Me by Lee Child, another one from the Jack Reacher series. Blue Moon by Alison Noel, and this is the second book in the Immortal series. The Versions of Us by Laura Barnett. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, and this is one of the Penguin classics. Again, I haven't read this one yet, and I really need to find out about Heathcliff. Come on, Simone, what are you doing? The Widow by Fiona Barton. Finders Keepers by Stephen King. Farewell to the East End by Jennifer Worth. False Friends by Stephen Leather, which is part of the Spider Shepherd series. Book 1 of the Mistborn series, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Again, I'm quite excited about this, but it's quite a big book. Fireproof by Alex Carver. The Fire Eaters by David Almond, or however you say that word. Emma's Baby by Abby Taylor. Eclipse by Stephanie Meyer, and this is the third book in the Twilight series. The Elite by Kira Cass, book 2 in the Selection series. Exocet by Jack Higgins, and The Death Trade by Jack Higgins. Death or Glory, The Last Commander by Michael Asher. Desert Pursuit by Chris Ryan. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with The Merry Men and Other Stories by R.L. Stevenson, and this is one of the Wordsworth classics. And then I have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Stories, again by R.L. Stevenson. This is the Penguin classic version. Daughter by Jane Shemilt, something along that line. Call the Midwife by Jennifer Worth, and this is the book that the television series is based upon. Finally, for the third shelf, we have City of the Beasts by Isabel Allende. Now we're on to the fourth shelf. This one just here. Starting off with The Zombie Chronicles by Darren Shan, which includes Zombie and Zombie Underground. Yesterday I Cried by Iyanla Van Zandt. I am not going to try and say that again because I completely butchered it. Wish Upon a Star by Trisha Ashley. NYPD Red 3 by James Patterson and Marshall Karp. And NYPD Red 4 by James Patterson and Marshall Karp. Mersey Blues by Lynn Andrews. Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Mirage by Clive Cussler with Jack Dubrul. My Husband's Wife by Jane Corrie. Mother's Ruin by Nicola Barry, another memoir. Long Way Home by Michael Morpurgo, which is a children's book. Love is a Four-Letter Word by Claire Kalman. The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. Just One Day by Gail Foreman. In the Dark by Mark Billingham. He's the One by Katie Price. The Hunters by Chris Kazneski. The Heavenly Italian Ice Cream Shop by Abby Clements. Hard Times by Charles Dickens, and this is another of the Penguin classics. Hell's Corner by David Baldacci. Hackney Child by Hope Daniels and Morag Livingstone. Heath Ledger, His Beautiful Life and Mysterious Death by John McShane, and this is a biography. Hunted by Chris Ryan. Happy Birthday by Danielle Steele. The Girl Without a Voice by Casey Watson, another memoir. And the final one from that shelf is, where you can lovingly see the plug behind it, beautiful, is Flesh and Blood by Patricia Cornwell, and that's part of the Kay Scarpetta series. That's that shelf done. Now we are on to the fifth stack, and the first book is a book that I'm very ashamed not to have read yet, and it is Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I definitely need to get to this one pretty soon. Then we have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and this is one of the Penguin classics. Although the Book Nook is all books that I haven't read yet, this is actually a book that I have read, but I haven't read this version and I haven't read it in a long time, so I've put it up there because I definitely want to get to it soon. Lord Loss by Darren Shan. and that is book 1 in the Demonata trilogy. 1984 by George Orwell, another book that I really want to read very soon. 204 Rosewood Lane by Debbie Macomber. You're Coming With Me, Lad by Mike Pannett, and this is the stories of a Yorkshire police officer. Stay Alive by Simon Kernick. The Silent Sea by Clive Cussler with Jack Dubreuil. The Shop on Blossom Street by Debbie Macomber. Shadows of the Workhouse by Jennifer Worth, which is part of the Call the Midwife series. Summer at Shell Cottage by Lucy Diamond. Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Siege by Simon Kernick. Remember Me by Sophie Kinsella. Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe, and that is also a Penguins classic. The Red House by Mark Haddon, the same author as The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and I haven't read this one yet either, which is also not a good thing. The Racketeer by John Grisham. The Private Lives of Pippa Lee by Rebecca Miller. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, another Penguin classic. The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot, which is now obviously a major film. Private Sydney by James Patterson and Catherine Fox, part of the Private series. Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter, what an absolutely fantastic name. Poseidon's Arrow by Clive Cussler and his son Dirk Cussler. The One by Kira Cass, the third book in the Selection series. Ooh, What a Lovely Pair by Anton Deck, and this is their autobiography. The Outcast by Sadie Jones, and The Nightingale Girls by Donna Douglas. And that is all fifth stack. Let's move on to the next one. So we have The 1000th Floor by Catherine McGee, Honeymoon by James Patterson and Howard Ruffin, Dean Koontz's Frankenstein, Lost Souls, Dean Koontz's Frankenstein, The Dead Town, Educating Jack by Jack Sheffield, which is part of a series, Dean Koontz's Frankenstein, Dead and Alive, The Quickie by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge, Afraid to Die by Lisa Jackson, Chasing Darkness by Robert Crace, Predator by Patricia Cornwell, part of the Kay Scarpetta series, The Spy by Clive Cussler, part of the Isaac Bell adventure stories, The Navigator by Clive Cussler, part of the Kurt Austin adventure stories, Dean Koontz's Frankenstein, City of Night, Not in the Flesh by Ruth Rendell, part of the Wexford novels, Spider Bones by Kathy Reichs, part of the Bones series, which is also now a television series, Ellie Pride by Annie Groves, and I always think that I get mixed up, so I always think it's Annie Groves by Ellie Pride, which it's not. Tuppence to Spend by Lillian Harry, Lights Out Liverpool by Maureen Lee, Velocity by Dean Koontz, Corner House Girls by Lillian Harry, Love and Laughter by Lillian Harry, Firefight by Chris Ryan, Girl Meets Ape by Chris Manby, which was actually a free book from Cosmopolitan magazine many years ago, Golden Moments by Danielle Steele, Rough Justice by Gilda O'Neill, and How Could She by Dana Fowley, another memoir. And that is all for the sixth stack. And then we have the final stack, which is all of the smaller books. So we start with Postmortem by Patricia Cornwell, part of the Kay Scarpetta novels, Deadshot by Jack Coughlin, Mother Earth, Father Sky by Sue Harrison, The Body Farm by Patricia Cornwell, The Scold's Bridal by Minette Walters, Brother Wind by Sue Harrison, which is the sequel to Mother Earth, Father Sky, Dance Little Lady by Lillian Harry, Vanished by Danielle Steele, The Outlaws of Sherwood by Robin McKinley, which is based on the tale of Robin Hood, Mummy Told Me Not to Tell by Kathy Glass, That Last Mountain by Terence Strong, P.S. I Love You by Lillian Harry, not to be confused by the TV or the film, Dean Koontz's Frankenstein, Prodigal Son, Put On by Cunning by Ruth Rendell, another Wexford novel, Dancing Till Midnight by Rosie Goodwin, Broken Bodies by June Hampson, Vagabonds by Josephine Cox, Morning Doves by Helen Forrester, Forgive and Forget by Margaret Dickinson, Cross Stitch by Diana Gabaldon. This is actually Outlander, but it has another title when it was released in the UK. Goodbye Sweetheart by Lillian Harry, Unlucky 13 by James Patterson and Maxine Patro, which is part of the series, I can't remember what it's called though. Sleeping Arrangements by Sophie Kinsella, but she's writing as Madeline Wickham in this book. Ash by Melinda Lowe, and this was actually a retelling of Cinderella. And finally, Untamed by PC and Kristen Cast, which is again part of the House of Night series. So that is my book nook, and that's all the books on it. Now let me know in the comments below if you think I should read any of these particularly first, and let me know if you'd like to see my other shelves, because this is just my book nook. So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I hope you liked this video. Bye guys!